In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the perfect melody for your drops. So the first step I recommend you do before you even start on your drop melody is come up with some sort of build up and some sort of drop drums or effects. And if I just play this now for you, you can hear that I've got a build up and then I've got drums and then I've got some vocals going on. So let me just play this for you. And this is already in a key, so this is in F minor, and I know this because the vocals are in F minor, the instruments are all in F minor, and they are playing the root note of F. So this right here, this M1 organ, is just playing an F consistently. And this will really help when you're coming to then make your drop melody. So once you've made your build up and you've determined what key you're in, and you can also work on the intro as well, so you could get everything done and then you just have the drop to do. And once you've made your drums, now it's time to work on the melody. Now things in the build-up might change, and you might change up the drums later on, like you might change out a clap or you might change the kick, but this is just to get the foundations in so you can start working on the melody. So now let's go to the foundations of the drop. So this is part 2. So I like to grab a piano or just a basic instrument and whack it on my bass bus like this, and then I'll just come here and grab the first 8 bars of the drop and just press Ctrl+Shift+M to create it, and then this brings up our piano roll. And then what I'll do is find the root note, so that's F, and then I'll just play this every single time the kick hits. So every single beat. So we can just do Control and D and duplicate it all the way along for the first 8 bars. And then what I also like to do is apply my sidechain to it. So I've got my sidechain set up, which is just a basic compressor on Ableton. And you press this out, click sidechain on, and then I've picked the kick group. And then I've just adjusted all these settings, threshold, ratio, attack, release. And then if I play it all together with the piano, it sounds like this. Now this is quite an aggressive sidechain, so it's up to you how much sidechain you apply. But I think this gives the most bounce for the kind of genre I'm making. And then we've got the bass of our melody down. So it literally just sounds like this. But that's already starting to sound quite bouncy, and we're already starting to get a bit of a rhythm there. So now let's go on to the next bit, and this is the structure of your drop. So I've got these set up along here, and I'm going to rename them. So I'm going to rename this A, and then I'm going to go across 2 bars here, and then set another one, and call this B, and then go across to here, and set another one, and call this A. Then I'm going to go across to here, set another one, and call this C. So now we've split our drop, our first 8 bars of the drop, into 4 sections, and we can work on each section individually. So let me just delete all of this and work on section A to begin with. So what this essentially means is A is the melody pattern, and then B is like a varied version of A, or it could be completely different to A. It's up to you and what you're going for. And then A here is exactly the same as A here. So we copy this across. And then C is a variation of B. So we copy this across and then change some things. So what I recommend you do now, before you do anything else, is grab yourselves a reference track and put it in your reference track slot. And then just get an idea of what the track you like is doing. And then you can base your ideas off that. Now I don't need a reference track in this scenario because I have already got something in mind which I practiced earlier, and for the purposes of this tutorial I'm just going to use one consistent bass sound just to simplify it for you, but you could use a variation of bass sounds. depending on what style you're going for and what your reference track is saying. So now the next step is to use trial and error with the help of your key to create a melody. So as you can see down here, I've turned this on. So I've got the scale turned on, and then I've picked F and then minor. Now you can also press this scale button here, and this will only show the notes in F minor, so you can't click any others when you're creating. But I don't like to do that because sometimes you might have a variation of a note that isn't actually on the red notes. Because you see here, there's all these different types of keys, and you might end up going into one of them, like a harmonic minor, for example, or a Dorian. So I just like to leave it there just in case, but the main focus will be hitting these red notes. So let's do some trial and error now. So I'm going to click play. So I'm going to just grab this and press Ctrl L to create a loop. And then what we can do is just have a think. This is just our starting pattern. So what I'm going to do is halve some notes. And then so that sounds good, but because this note's gone up, we need to now vary this part. Okay, that sounds good. So if we can bring this higher using the red notes. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So let's keep this as our melody. Now I'm just going to show you some alternative things you can do. So you could use this triplet grid down here, and I'll just show you a quick example. You can either use it on like the first note, the second note, just anywhere really. But that is super fast, so you might have to create a new preset and shorten it down and adjust the sidechain as well on here, depending on what you're going for. And then you've got obviously half notes, and then you've got even like faster notes as well. Let me just turn triplet off. So you've got like, you can have even faster notes, but then you might want to look into wobble sounds for those kind of things. So let's just keep it simple for now and just have half notes. And then what we can do is we can copy this across to A. So now we've got half the melody done for the first 8 bars. So let's copy this across here for B, and then let's play it with the loop bigger and see what we can come up with next. So I think that sounds quite good, but we don't need some variation in this section, so let's play it. Let's play it. That sounds pretty good, and we've stayed in the key of F minor as well, just on the red notes. Now let's listen to it all the way because we need some variation in C. So let's copy this across. So now we could do some sort of variation in this last section. So And you see how I'm using a grey note now, because I think that sounds cool. I think that might be, if I switch it to Dorian, no. I don't know where that is. But you'll see it sounds alright still. So let's just play it and then we'll make some adjustments. And we want to go here. Like that. There we go, let's play it now, and then you'll see it sounds pretty good. You see, that sounds good. So we've got our A, our B, our A, our C. So now we've done all that, we can come here and just press Ctrl J to make it all into one. And then we can drag this down into our serum. So what you're going to want to do next is use your sound design sessions, which are basically hour-long sessions you might do where you come up with new sounds, or you search the internet for sample packs and you buy them with loads of serum presets in. And then what you'll do is with your new melody, you'll come onto serum. So let me move it down to this one. You'll come onto serum here and you'll just go through the presets. This is one from my bonus pack, which you can get through the bass production collection on my website, or the D&B production collection as well. And then what I normally do is I'll go through all the sounds that I've made in my sound design session, or all the sounds from the pack, until I found one I like, and then I'll make adjustments to it, and then I'll add a sub bass, which is here, and then there's actually another sub bass in this one here, and you'll get something that sounds like this. Now I'm just going to go back through the melody and check there's nothing I want to change. I'm thinking I might change this one to another note. So let me just go to here. Maybe there. So let me try. Yeah, to me that sounds just a little bit better. Now another thing I have done is at the end of B section, I've got this synth down here, which I can use for this bit. So if I just copy and paste this in. And then we could maybe change this. Oh, this seems to be a slightly off beat. Just edit that quickly. There we go. Let's fix that. And we could even adjust this more and put it an octave higher. Let's try it. Maybe not. But it's worth experimenting with these little things and seeing what else works until, because trial and error is the best way to get new and fresh sounding ideas. So now we've got the first 8 bars complete and it's sounding good. It's time to do some variation in the next 8 bars. So we can copy all this across and then we can add variation. Now there's 2 ways to add variation. In this case, what I've done is I've just added a new synth in to go over the top. and it sounds like this. But another way to do it is to slightly change the melody. And when I say slightly, I mean like one note. So it might be like, if we just have a look at the main lead. So it might be like something like this note here. You see, like very minor adjustments, and just keeps it interesting and moving along. Or you might change something in the drums, like you might add a hi-hat or a ride or some sort of percussion in, or some new effects in, or vocal, just anything to keep the track moving. So we just copy this across with everything, just to show you what it sounds like if it was a different type of variation. And then you might do it again. So here. You see how it's that easy to make your track moving and interesting and not boring. And then in the last section, so it's up to you how long you have your drops, but typically you'll have one 16 section bar and then a new varied section of another 16 bars. Or a popular way to do it also is to have 32 bars here and then a 16 bars and then some sort of breakdown for 8 bars here. And this also works for every other genre of music as well, like drum and bass, house music. Most of them follow a similar pattern, or you'll see elements of this pattern in it. So I'm just going to show you what I've done for this one, and then you can get some ideas. It's just keeping it varied, mixing it up, but let me play it for you. And you see how we've gradually decreased the amount of synths in, and we've changed it to this like half steppy style bass, still following the same melody, but just keeping it interesting. And then the last 8 bars is basically just a sub to nicely transition back into the breakdown. So once you've got your first drop complete and you've figured out the key of your track, you've put the foundations in with a piano, you've figured out the structure A, B, A, C, you've done your trial and error and come up with the melody, then you've done your sound design and come up with the actual sounds of the drop, your sidechain, things like that, making it all sound bouncy and molded together with the drums. You've added in your variation every 8 bars. You then need to do drop 2. Now what I like to do for drop 2 is I won't start it until the whole first section is done, and then what I'll do is I'll paste the whole first drop over, and then I'll just trial and error until I get something that works. And this can be like not too different from the original drop, but you just want it to be having some of the elements from the new drop and then some of the new elements, and it's just about trial and error. So I'll just show you what we came up with in this one. This was actually Turtleneck that did this. So let me play you what this sounds like, and you can get an idea of how to do your ones. hear how it's keeping similar elements of the first drop, but it's slightly changed. There's a new synth added. We're doing like little melody variations. I'll show you the melody. It's like all bouncing around a little bit more while still staying in the key of F minor, of course. But you get the idea there. So you see how they're all bouncing around everywhere. It looks pretty cool and crazy. Now, if you want me to make a full video on drop twos, second drops, then let me know in the comments. But essentially, this 16 bars is all new, and then the last 16 bars are just the same as this 16 bars. I normally do that just to save time, and it always sounds good. Like, you don't need to vary everything, otherwise it makes the track overly complicated. And that is all 7 steps complete. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. Let me know what you'd like to see from me in the future in the comments below. Make sure to check out my website. There's some sample packs and courses to get your hands on. And I'll see you all in the next one.